Okay, I am rejoined by Alison Sivitz one last time. Sivy, Bald Ann Dowd, we are here to discuss the White Lotus, wrapping up Season 3. The finale aired last night. We did not get screeners. They were keeping this very hush-hush over at HBO. So we're just common people, common folk. We're with you. We here for you. And we're ready to talk about this finale. I am in festive attire for the listeners. I'm wearing a shirt I actually procured in Thailand. It's like a What would you call mine? And I'll tell you what yours is.
Yours is sort of a not a Hawaii, kind of like a beachy, like a dad shirt.
Jesus.
That's kind of what mine is too.
Okay. Yeah, yours it's like a towel-ish situation.
Yes,
it's got a yellow,
kinda...
white stripe. Mine's got some type of plant pattern stitched into it.
Tropical.
And
tropical is the word I was looking for.
Tropical. I don't have any pina colada ingredients, but I did make a daiquiri. So I'm sipping on that.
Okay.
Maybe that could get me a little loopier as we go along.
I'm drinking a Hal's lime seltzer. Shout out to Hal's. If you want to sponsor me, I love you and your product. Shout out to Lori
sprinting back to New York City to drink her house.
That was crazy. She was out of there.
She was booking it.
Carrie Coon is fast. She's an Olympian.
I saw her quote that, I'm a New Yorker. I always know where the exits are.
It's true. You could tell that the other two were more LA.
All right. White Lotus Season 3, Episode 8. The episode is titled Amor Fati. It was a big one. 90 minutes of White Lotus. Reception, I feel like, is divided. I have not spoken to you about this episode, but I'm throwing it to you right now. What did you think of this finale?
I'm torn.
Okay.
I had a fun time watching it, I will say. It felt like everything that we all thought was going to happen happened. Mm-hmm. Nothing really shocked. Well, one thing sort of shocked me, and we can get into it, because I was almost angry about the way it wrapped up. I don't know. I had a fun time watching it, but the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of like, whatever. I think I enjoy the ambiguity that existed a little more in like Season 2. I really like that, and I feel like a lot of the stuff here was a little heavy-handed, but we can chat. What did you think about it?
I thought this was an up and down season. Mm-hmm. I think it's been overstuffed in parts. I think it's been repetitively monotonous in other places. Mm-hmm. But I was watching this finale, admittedly, very overwhelmed by just the cumulative emotional intensity of the episode. Yeah. Like, 8 episodes, you can say that was too long a runtime, since, like we discussed, Season 1 was 6, Season 2 was 7. But in being 8, you gotta take the bad with the good. And the good was that we knew these characters really deeply. So I thought the payoffs kind of worked. And for 90 minutes, I was riveted. I really was. I was glued to the screen. And I think that's because of our journeys with really talented performers.
Yeah. Were there more characters this season than in past seasons?
It felt like it.
It felt... You said that we knew them really well, and I think a handful of them we knew really well, but some of them, to me, never felt particularly fleshed out, and I think the season could have benefited from like 2 or 3 less people, because the people that were really written well were really written well.
Right.
But it felt a little bit crowded.
Mm-hmm. It's fair.
Yeah.
I also think watching this finale and then seeing what people are saying online, I wonder if I really liked it, because for these 90 minutes, I just gave myself over to it as a viewer. I know that sounds stupid and obvious, but you know, you and I did some theorizing last episode, and obviously we've been talking through each episode. Mm-hmm. But I think we've approached this show as fans first and foremost.
Yeah.
Last night I watched it as a fan, and I feel like a lot of viewers watched it as little detectives with their little monocle and their mustache and their like sight glass, you know, like trying to spot clues. And I'm just like,
this is not the show for that. I think if like someone called it the Taylor Swiftification of White Lotus, where everyone thinks that everything is some sort of Easter egg. And I think last night proved that, like, honestly, probably what you think is going to happen is probably going to happen. You can't watch it for that. You have to just kind of watch it for the sake of watching the people interact. It's not a, like, he's not like hiding clues in every little thing.
And like, he is a bit. You say, you put that first scene with the dead body and the gunshots, like, you're always going to be trying to figure out how does that go down. But I watched last night as a fan, not a Redditor, not wearing a tinfoil hat, not with my corkboard in the back, you know? Like, I just wanted to see the emotional journeys of the characters, enjoy some great performances, enjoy some funny lines, and I did that. And then looking back on the season, if you look at it through that lens, I think it's a success. I was impressed by the finale and the season, though, you know, we've discussed our ups and downs on this show many times.
Yeah. I had a fun time. That's my big takeaway, is that, like, for those 90 minutes I was locked in, and I gasped a few times just because of the way things happened. I cried, which we can get into.
I'd love to hear that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I had fun.
Overall, now that the season's wrapped up, and we can discuss this at the end after we do our recap, are you happy, satisfied with the season? How do you feel about it? Big picture.
I feel like I need more time to really really sit with it and let it sort of fizzle out in a way that the other seasons have, with distance. And then I'll be able to kind of look back and think about how it compares to them. I think right now recency bias is playing a part, and it's kind of like, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I don't know if it's my favorite. I really struggle to rank seasons of the show, just because I kind of take them for what they are.
Exactly.
How do you feel about, like, where does it fall for you?
This is a bit of a cop-out, but I think that this season had some of the show's highest highs, but also its lowest lows. I thought the spirituality aspect really worked for me, the theme of identity as a prison. And I think that this season should be commended for reaching for something a little more profound than past seasons. And when you reach, you sometimes fall flat on your ass. Other times you reach and you grasp that ineffable thing that I think this season did sometimes. With that, let's get into the finale, Amor Fati. That refers to a line that Chelsea says to Rick, which is, I guess it translates in Latin to love your fate, like accept your fate, embrace your fate. If it's gonna be bad, take the bad. If it's gonna be good, take the good. But you just gotta roll with
the
your
punches.
life. Yeah, exactly. Before we get into the episode chronologically, that title, what did it mean to you?
Exactly what you just said. I Googled it, and I was like, okay, got it.
So the episode begins with the monk and voiceover of his teachings. He says, there's no resolution to life's questions. There's no quick fix. And I thought this was Mike White kind of pointing at the Redditors and being like, the show's going to end the way I want it to end, the way that makes sense for the characters, not the way Tom, Dick, or Harry wants it to resolve on the internet. And I just appreciate when writers, whether they are a single writer or a writer's room, I don't know, stick it to the bad fan a little bit.
Yeah. I didn't think about it that way in the moment, but I don't fully disagree. I do think it's, well, I don't know that he could have foreseen the audience reaction. So I don't know if when he was writing it that was the intention, but it does sort of read that way. As
the voiceover is happening, we check in on some characters. We see Sam Rockwell rocking out with his cock out.
Hell yeah. That was awesome.
Totally off the wagon. Like, yeah. The wagon's like so far over there. He's completely off of it.
Yeah.
And we see Jacqueline and Lori. Jacqueline's apologizing to Lori, but is that real? It didn't feel very genuine. It does feel genuine later, but maybe not here.
I disagree. Okay. I think it felt genuine in that moment, and then later it lost me, and we can get into that.
Wow. Yeah. That is interesting. Okay, so we also have the return of the kids, the Ratliff kids from the monastery. I thought it was notable that Saxon in the past would have made fun of them, made a joke, made a quip about how lame they are. No jokes from him here as they re-enter. He's got his book that he's reading that Chelsea gave him. I mean, we'll definitely talk about the soul of Saxon.
We very much will.
We can start here.
I'm here to announce that Saxon Ratliff is one of my girls. He has become important to me in a way that I never could have foreseen. Spoiler alert, the one time I cried in this episode of television was because of Patrick Schwarzenegger. And today, Patrick Schwarzenegger retweeted me saying that I was pissed off that he made me cry. So thank you, Patrick.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're saying when Saxon cries, you cry?
Yeah. Fuck. We've strayed so far from God's light. This was not supposed to happen.
No, I'm happy. You know how I feel about Saxon.
Yeah.
Piper, on the other hand, comes back in the most predictable, and kind of like this was Alexandra Daddario's character's arc in the first season, right? Mm-hmm. The way she is morally self-righteous, but then loves those trappings of wealth, and who doesn't? Yeah. But Piper says, ugh, the food, it wasn't organic, the mattress had stains, there's no AC. Cut to Vicky Ratliff in just pure ecstasy, having a full-on happiness conniption, hearing her daughter bitch about this stuff.
Yes. First of all, I want to say, I've seen people online coming after Sarah Catherine Hook saying that they didn't like this and that they didn't think her performance was good. I loved that. I thought it was very funny, very spot on, and it made me appreciate Vicky as a character more, because she had been sort of one-dimensional throughout the whole season, but then there was this payoff of watching Piper turn into her mother that worked for me. It really did work for me.
Yeah. A friend sent me a tweet that said of Vicky, had her personal beliefs validated, won back her daughter, learned she could survive without lorazepam, she won the season. Now, she has a rude awakening coming with Tim.
I don't think any of them won anything.
The family's finances, but in this moment, she gives the thumb up to Tim. And the dramatic irony of Tim thinking to himself, fucking hell, now I gotta kill my daughter too.
That...
His face.
Tim. Can we? I don't want to like get too into it until we really get into it. Are we gonna do the full Ratliff thing right now?
No, we'll save it for the pina colada party.
Okay, amazing.
It's true. We both have been a little upset with Vicky Ratliff's usage rate and the one-noteness of it, even though that one note is played very well.
Yes.
I mean, we love Parker Posey. You should not feel any gratification or satisfaction at Vicky being right. Mm-hmm. But she feels it of herself. I mean, she predicted this. She called it.
She's riding high.
Belinda gets a lot of airtime in this episode.
Yes. I love Belinda.
I know you do. You love Natasha Rothwell.
I think she's fabulous.
She gives a great comic performance here.
Truly. She started, I think at Second City, or...
I know she was a writer at SNL. I don't know where she did her performances.
She did character stuff. I don't know which theater she was part of, but like that's how I know her, and I think she's really, really funny, and I'm glad that she got to really show her chops in this episode.
Right, but isn't our plotting her just drawing attention to the fact that she's been a bit underutilized this season?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
That is one of my main problems with this season, I think, is her lack of screen time overall.
So she and Zion, her character Belinda and Zion, head up to that house on the hill to negotiate with Greg Gary. I thought Zion was way too cocky.
My
parents would say that would be cavalier. That's the word they would use for him.
He's, to my understanding, an undergraduate in the business school. When I was doing my one semester of what I thought would turn into business school, I was maybe the dumbest I've ever been.
Right.
And
you weren't negotiating against murderers?
No. And I didn't know a single person in my shoes who really knew anything at all. So this kid's confidence was quite... I mean, I don't know the actor's name, but I really like him.
His name's Nicholas Duvernay. He quotes Langston Hughes' poem Harlem to Greg Gary, saying that his mother's dream has been deferred, drying up like a raisin in the sun. Mm-hmm. He's an English major. He's a business major. That was funny.
Yeah, I mean, I love his character. Like, one of my favorites of the bunch, maybe just because he was doing anything, but he was a little overconfident.
I agree. I mean, here's a way though that the scene worked for me. I was thinking, God damn it, like he's speaking for Belinda, another scene where Belinda's too shy or voiceless, and then she stands up in a huff and goes out, and I'm like, God damn it, like now she's out of the scene, and she looks at him, and she gets like crazy eyes, and she's like, we're going to play hardball. Go back for more or something. And I was just like, good. Because if this was the character doing the same thing of being too nice, I don't know, would have been bored.
No, I was so happy that surprised me. That was one of the things
that did surprise
in the episode
me too.
that I did not see coming, but I really loved. That's the type of thing we should be throwing at Natasha Rothwell. She crushed it.
Agreed. So that money does get wired, just skipping ahead a little bit, $5 million into her account. Now she's a new person. She just is.
She's rich.
She's rich. That's just as simple as that. And she says, can I just be rich for 5 fucking minutes? And I'm here to say that, yes, you can and you should be.
Yeah, I supported her.
I think that there's a whole side of the web on her ass about letting down porn shy. And, like, there's no doubt that the parallels and echoes to Tanya are here. It's on purpose. But it's a very different situation. This is money that's just come in. This isn't someone who's been the scion of San Francisco worth $500 million for her whole life. Like, let her have this wealth. It's a different reaction. I know that there are shades of the Tanya sitch.
Of course.
But it's different.
Because it wouldn't hit as hard if, to an extent, she didn't turn into the thing that let her down. But she never made any promises to porn shy in the way that Tanya made to her. So people need to leave her alone.
Right.
I don't think she did anything wrong.
Porn shy, lovely guy, very vascular, kind of looks like a Thai Barack Obama.
I saw that tweet and I laughed out loud for a while.
I thought Obama or maybe Beto O'Rourke.
A little bit, yeah.
Either way,
mash them.
Seems like a lovely guy. They had one night. Like, come on, people, let her be, let her live.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, she wasn't gonna stay there and open a spa.
But here's the thing. We did talk about this last episode, and now I'm feeling it here. We mentioned Natasha Rothwell not being in enough of the season. Should the porn shy Belinda angle have been built up more?
Yes.
Now it's hitting harder, and it wasn't.
Yeah, we needed more of that. There were sprinklings of them throughout the first few episodes that I really liked, and I wanted more, and then it felt like it was placed way on the back burner for a while, and then it was brought back, and then her son came. It was just, it wasn't paced consistently as maybe it should have been.
Right.
To really hit. So at the end of it, when she kind of, walks away from porn shy, it didn't hold the emotional weight that it should have. Right.
I think that's exactly right. And I don't know if you read that Hollywood Reporter cover story from a couple days ago.
No, I didn't.
About it's the oral history of the making of season 3. And it really made me see the season with fresh eyes, especially one specific fact, which was that the first cut of each episode was an hour and 40 minutes.
Every episode?
Every episode. An hour and 40 minutes on average.
I want the full director's cut.
I do too, but what that said to me was that it's impressive to cut down your show to 60 minutes when you have that much material.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, Mike White's doing that at his own discretion. And the choice is the choice, and it probably is the right choice. But what gets left out, what gets missed, what's a connection or a moment that has more weight if we saw something else? Like,
exactly.
I don't know. My mind's like going wild with the possibilities. Like, if I were to rewatch this season, there's a moment with the trio that you think has weight, but it doesn't because you missed that. Or it could happen in the opposite way, where you're like, wow, this feels really intense, but where was the buildup? Like, this was the first season they had too much time. They were rushed for season 1. They were rushed for season 2. There's an issue of too much, maybe, with this season. Yeah,
that's what I was getting at the very beginning. I mean, if you're going to have that many characters and you are writing toward what is, almost 2 hours per episode, at that point, do you need to make 2 seasons of the same group of people? Do you need to make a feature film? Like, is a limited series, an anthology series, the best way to go about it? Because there are so many moments that I know were lost that would have really added and made things hit the way they should have. And credit to Mike White for even being able to Killing Your Darlings is so difficult, but there was definitely some stuff in there that we would have liked to have seen.
I'm not here to tell him what to do. I still really love this season, but maybe don't find the edit in the edit. Find it on the page.
Yes.
Like, identify the issues or the fat early, cut it out, not in the later stages. The craziest factoid from that was that there was a scene for episode 3 where Kate has a dream, and it was a dream sequence inspired by The Shining, involving ping pong, like the sex act ping pong shows that are in Thailand. And Valentine was on the beach like Jesus on the cross. It was supposedly Tarkovsky inspired.
Oh, okay. I guess we'll never know.
I guess we won't. And Mike White said it didn't feel part of the story. But like that just gives you a hint at like how much else is out there in this world in this season.
Mike White also said that he had it so that in the finale, when Piper comes home from the monastery, she decides that Saxon was right and she does need to lose her virginity, so she sleeps with Zion, which is like the most soap opera ass. Like, I can't. That is a mess. That is a mess that those people have never met or interacted. You can't just shove them together like halfway through the finale of the show. No. That's crazy. I'm glad they cut it.
How many hours would an hour 40-minute per episode season be? I'm not ready to do
How
math.
Many was this 8 episodes?
You were the budding business major.
No,
once.
I was an English major.
8 episodes.
8 episodes.
Hour and 40 minutes per.
4 times 8. 8 times 32, and that is 320 minutes. And then you have 60 times 8, so 480 plus 320, 480 plus 480 plus 3, 4, 5, 7, 800 minutes. Yes.
800 minutes. Okay.
Is that right?
I don't know. Let's go with that.
Yeah, it's 800 minutes.
All
I
right.
crushed that.
Trust yourself.
That's 13.3 hours.
800-minute season.
Sure.
Let's get that on the box set if they still do that for
Yeah.
TV shows. All right, let's move on. Lachlan and Saxon, they still have not had that confrontation. The talk, basically. I know what Lachlan did. We all know what Lachlan did, but I
sure do.
Really felt for him here. Sam Nivola says, I'm a pleaser, and I wanted to please you. And we remember his session with the coach, people pleaser.
People pleaser. I think he could have worded it better.
Sure.
I have to say, didn't love that.
But he's 18. Like, what? He actually has a striking amount of emotional intelligence.
He does, and it
for himself.
It almost killed him.
Almost. I mean, and he says, which is accurate. This is a family full of narcissists, and they really
True.
are. How is he supposed to know what any one person wants? He thinks his sister wants him to join her at the monastery. He thinks his brother wants a hand job. Like, he's in the woods. No one's telling him what's right.
And to his credit, his brother spent the first 6 episodes talking about how badly he wanted a hand job.
Right.
Poor
He
kid.
did say that. So, I don't know. He's had no guidance, and he just has terrible role models to look up to.
Yeah.
I mean, even his sister, who we thought was this paragon of virtue, obviously she's not now.
She's... Ugh.
Ugh, Piper. Let's talk about that Saxon moment that Patrick Schwarzenegger retweeted of your tweet. Why don't you set the scene here?
Okay. If I cry talking about this, everyone shut up. Saxon's like, I'm gonna go to the beach to read, and he goes behind the pillow on the couch where he has hidden his book like his mom hid her purse on the boat, and he takes his little spiritual book and he walks out and he goes down to the beach, and Chloe and Chelsea are sitting on the beach, and Saxon is like, you're reading your book, and Chelsea's like, wow, and he's like, I'm almost done, and she's like, you learned how, like, you know how to read? That's crazy. And
says,
they're
I
just
went to
kind of,
Duke.
He went to Duke. Yeah, they have a little back and forth. She tells him to read the other books as well because they'll change his life. And then Chelsea looks up. What does she see? Rick, back from Bangkok. Chelsea gets up, runs to Rick. They like embrace, they kiss. She is so happy to see him. The light is coming
there's this
kind
lens,
of like
lens flare.
This lens flare that is reminiscent of like when there's a dead wife in a movie.
Oh, I called it like a Viagra commercial.
Yeah, it's that. And I mean,
this was in the trailer for the episode, and a lot of people, myself included, thought it was like a dream sequence because it seemed so unreal to the show.
And the ending of the episode does make that feel more, it adds a lot of weight to that moment, and it does feel like a nice visual choice, I will say. But Saxon is watching this, and he looks back at Chelsea, and in kind of Megan Fahey season 2 fashion, he gets this look in his eye. He like tears up a little bit. He looks so defeated. He is so sad. This is like the first woman who's ever really gotten through to him, and she has completely changed his life. And I saw someone on Twitter complaining that like these two like barely interacted, like they never had a chance. You guys need to like shut up and grow up. No, it's not about that. It's not about that. He found something in spirituality. She really changed his view of the world.
Vacation, passion, and romance is a different level of engagement.
It is so far beyond like, oh, I wanted them to hook up. That is not it. It is just tragic to watch him watch this unfold as he was kind of starting to be seen for the first time by this woman. I started crying. Patrick Schwarzenegger, I doubted you. I did doubt you. At the beginning, I was like, they put Arnold's kid in White Lotus. That's crazy. That's crazy. He's being so annoying. And now I'm kind of like, if he wins an Emmy for this, I won't be pissed off. As someone aptly put it on Twitter, Patrick Schwarzenegger made me realize that Nepo babies are people.
I thought you were going to say, Patrick, call me. I'll fill the void.
No, he's engaged.
No. Oh, that's true. Saxon, call me.
No. No, that you're misunderstanding.
Okay.
No. Absolutely, we would not get along. But I do love kind of like a pathetic, downtrodden man.
So, a few thoughts here. I think he loved Chelsea. Just like, it was a week, he fell hard, and he loved her.
I think he developed feelings for sure, but I think there was so much of his own identity and shit just kind of entwined in it that a lot of his feelings were toward himself. Like, I don't think he was in love with her, but I think she changed him so deeply. I think they could have fallen in love. And maybe, as you said, maybe they should have, because it didn't end well for her.
I'm not saying them in love. Him unrequited. Like, I think that...
Yeah, I don't know if it was as strong as love, but I do believe that he had feelings for her.
It's the first person who saw him as a human for once, or let him think of himself as...
And challenged him, like really pushed back on him, yeah.
So then my second thought is that he is maybe like devastated and inspired to see that what she was saying about Rick and the soulmate connection is true.
Yeah.
Because he really doubted it. He's like, why are you with this bald man, you know? And I think he was calling bullshit on a lot of her stuff.
Yeah. And she was very honest.
So it was a great moment. Maybe the underrated moment of the episode.
That is the only moment of the episode I remember or care about. Also, there's a really bleak moment after where he turns to Chloe and says, hey, sorry I couldn't help you last night. And she says, it's fine, I'll find someone else, it won't be hard. Like, way to kick a man while he's down.
Let's talk about guy talk.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So guy talk says that he knows who the robbers are, but he wants to quit. And Mook, they had a date that night. She's ready to blow it off. She's such bad news, and I wish there were different gradations of her and this relationship besides her being terrible for him. They kind of played the same storyline all season.
I agree. Okay, this is the first episode.
You're heated. I love it. Yeah.
This is the first episode where I've had interactions with people on Twitter live as the episode was happening, and then coming into recording with all of this having built up. I expressed that I don't care about guy talk. And someone responded, do you like any of the Thai characters? Quickly, kind of like they were like getting me. Like, that's not a gotcha. Sitala is a diva queen.
A dame.
Mook is so weird and like horrible. Yeah. I'm obsessed with her. To like neg this guy so hard. It's like, why don't you kill people? You should be violent. Why aren't you, like, she's such a weirdo. I love her. I'm obsessed with Mook now. I think she is so strange and bizarre and toxic that I find it very, very funny.
She is toxic. She's a piece of work. So you're saying guy toxic confidence has put you on Team Mook?
But if you're asking me if I like any of the Thai characters, like, put Mook in HBO's Girls, it would be like, oh my god. Just put her in with, like, a group of girls who suck. Like, that would be incredible. So
maybe she needed to be with the three ladies.
Exactly.
That would have been a better...
Like, I love all the Thai characters. I think guy talks a mix of incompetence and it's just like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't care about guy talk. You're not going to make me care about guy talk.
Go pray and be a peaceful, nice, kind person.
Exactly.
Who cares about you?
Anyway, sorry to get heated. What were you
saying?
saying?
No, I love it. No, let's talk. Let's get a little more heated, or let's get chilled, I should say, and talk about some pina colada mixing.
Yes.
First of all, your dad wants to do a pina colada toast party, and he's never done it before. I'd say that's weird. That's one thing I'm flagging as odd. We mentioned Piper glammed out for this dinner. Like, who is this girl?
Sparkles on the top.
Color. She used to wear like little like
Reformation dresses, very like simple, or like Madewell, just like a very like one fabric,
very virginal,
muted color. Yes.
She had sex with Zion off screen, not in the canon.
Not in the canon, but it happened.
So Tim mixes these Jim Jones-esque pina coladas for family annihilation.
I was so amped. I mean, listen, in a world where Timothy Ratliff made the suicide pina colada and gave it to his family and every single Ratliff dropped dead, would I have been devastated? Yeah. But would that have been crazy television? Yeah. And I kind of find... Well, do you want to get into it more?
I think off of that, I just say because of the time spent on the scene and how overwrought it was, I knew it was a fake out. Like, it wasn't going to happen. I also was thinking, nothing we haven't seen before, I thought it was so selfish of Tim to want to wipe out his family, not thinking that they had the strength to go on or just be humans without him.
Yes, agreed. Also, he notably tries to not kill Lachlan because they have a conversation shortly before this where he says, Lachlan, do you think you could live without money? And Lachlan says, yeah, I do. And Tim consents that this... Yeah, I believe Lachlan. And Tim consents it as well. And he really shows a love and respect for his son. So when it comes time to kill his whole family, he's like, Lachlan, you're drinking a Coke. You're not 21. Even though you jerked your brother off, grab a Coke. And Lachlan does. So the goal here is to kill off Piper, Saxon, Victoria, and himself and leave his son all alone, an orphan.
They've all had a moment, a conversation where they've expressed they're nothing without their money.
Yeah, and by the way, Saxon is changing.
Yeah, think about that.
So don't kill him before he gets there, Tim.
Tim.
You're ruining the plan.
He doesn't. He says the coconut milk is off. That was pretty funny, him slapping it out of everyone's hands.
Yeah. I was worried, I will say, at least Saxon took a good sip of it.
They all did. I mean, they were all sipping it.
So I guess this thing isn't...
The got milk mustaches.
Yeah, so maybe it's like not as poisonous as we were led to believe.
Fucked up the dosage. But that would mean Pam is a liar.
Pam.
And I can't abide by that. No, I missed her too.
I hope she comes back.
How wonderful for you. How wonderful for you.
Queen.
Okay, so the camera lingers on the shake, and there's still a little substance in it. I know he's drugged, but you gotta wash that shit out.
That was the most egregious thing that happened in this episode to me. If you are led to believe that the coconut milk is off, and then it sat overnight, at least rinse. Like, you don't even have to get soap, I guess. Rinse the blender.
A lot of people are blaming Lachlan for being so dumb to make a shake within it. Teenage boys do dumb shit.
He's an adult. He's 18.
You're right. But I feel like the dad, Tim, should have cleaned the blender. I don't know who the onus is on more in this situation.
Tim was being real loose with the poison.
Loose.
He was just like blending it and then putting it away for later and then bringing it out and then leaving it. Like, you gotta keep a tight lid on your poison.
Okay, are we ready to talk about Carrie Coon's Emmy reel?
Always.
So, I feel like maybe both of us are a little disappointed by the ladies and how not how they've been all season. I think they've been electric at times, but maybe this episode wasn't quite congealing, but where it, I think it's undeniably succeeded. I don't know, we could get into it. Carrie Coon gives this big monologue at the table.
Jacqueline had come into her room earlier in the morning to apologize and invite her to breakfast, but Lori was sort of hungover from that weird night she had with the Russian guys and, like, that whole thing. So she was like, I'll join you later. They get to dinner. They sit down. It's kind of still tense.
Well, she also witnessed the Kate and Jacqueline taking selfies by the pool.
Oh, yes.
Being the pretty girls, being the fun girls, happy.
Yes. In the same way that she did in that first episode when she kind of, like, let out that wail and then composed herself and went on with her day. So she watches that. Then they get to dinner. Do you think
she's seeing something different in that moment than at the start of the season because of what she's gone through?
No, and I want to talk about it.
Okay. Because I think she is feeling something different.
Okay.
I'll let you talk about her monologue, but the crux of it, and maybe I'm being overly optimistic, is that she's remembering before they split off and fought and were different, they were so deeply rooted in each other in young friendship, which is quite a beautiful thing. And I thought maybe this time around she's seeing them and she's like, these are just the girls and I'm one of them. Am I off?
I don't.
It's really nice of me. That's blue skies.
It's really optimistic of you. Well, should we get into her monologue first?
Yes, please.
She basically has this whole spiel about how, like, she's glad Jacqueline has a nice face and she's glad Kate has a nice life.
Yep.
Like, nothing ever worked for her. Like, love let her down. Motherhood didn't fulfill her in the way she thought it would. Her job let her down. And she realizes that, she was looking to, like, religion for meaning, and that didn't work. And time is the thing that gives life meaning. And they've been together for all of this time. And then they kind of have this beautiful moment, and they say they love each other, and they reconcile. And I found it really cynical. These are three women who have known each other for a long time. They are three women who treat each other like shit. They say horrible things to each other. And you could argue that that's kind of a familial, sisterly bond type of thing. But I also don't think that these women know each other particularly well. The reason that Lori has kind of given in is because time is all they... Like, she realizes that this is something that has spanned a long time. And at this point, to get out of it would be crazy and too much, and this isn't a fulfilling friendship, but she's been kind of...
Damn, that's pretty sad.
It made me really sad.
Well, that gives their, like, hugging and hanging out and the ending just so much more falsehood. I think is what you're saying.
And I also find it really interesting is, like, at the beginning they were all talking, and Lori was kind of the first one to be a downer and say what was really on her mind and say how she was really feeling. And these women only get to that place of loving each other, quote unquote, or, like, kind of appearing healed when Lori just kind of, like, accepts it and succumbs and lets this relationship that is very toxic happen. They have
no compliments for Lori.
They can't say anything nice about
her. She just has to keep speechifying them and she just throw her a lifeline. Say she's a cool gal.
Yeah, the relationship only works when Lori has just succumbed and said, like, fuck it, I've known you for my whole life and this is what I have and this is our
pretty bleak
relationship. So it felt very bleak to me, almost in a way that I appreciated, in a way that the Ratliff story did not kind of get to be. And I guess you can't have everything be bleak in an episode of television, but that was a really sad moment for me. I did not view it as optimistically as you did, and I think Lori looking down on them in the pool, it was the same thing. She was like, they're still them, and I'm not gonna wail this time. I'm gonna suck it up, I'm gonna hold it together, and I'm gonna go down there and I'm gonna handle it. And she did, and it was sad.
That's quite convincing. I would only now amend my thing, which is to say that whatever the friendship is after this chat, after this trip, I think it's dissolving again pretty quickly. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's also such a vacation thing. Is like you spend this time with these people and it feels... Like, there's no doubt in my mind that they had good moments.
Right.
They had fun moments. They had moments where they were really, truly realizing, like, oh, I've known these people forever. And, like, there is a love there. Of course there's a love there. I'm not denying that. But it's just going to fizzle out again. And they'll immediately snap back to reality and be reminded of all of the shit amongst the good moments.
All right, well, maybe they book a trip next year and do another great getaway.
Please.
But yeah, odds are low. My second biggest sticking point with this episode is why the hell Rick comes back to the hotel after what he just tried to pull in Bangkok.
Rick.
He's just having like a recreational donut-filled breakfast when obviously the hotel owner, Kun Jim Hollinger, comes up. And last episode, Scott Glenn was very quiet and weak. He's a whole new man now as Kun Jim, like fucking cowboy shit. Like, I thought he was amazing as Rick's, not his dad, but yes, his dad, in this episode, confronting him at the donut table.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I enjoyed that, like, him being a little bit more of a hard ass, but like, I don't have much to say other than like,
your mom was a slut and a liar, and your father was a terrible man. I was false-footed momentarily into thinking maybe this isn't his father, but it's his father's like ex-business partner.
No, I know what you mean, but this storyline pissed me off. You ended up being right about this.
You used to like this storyline once upon a time. I liked
Rick, and I do Rick, but I had more faith than I should have had in the direction of the story.
Sure. A much more affecting part of the episode, I think the most for me, was Lachlan drinking the smoothie and his near death. Very Romeo and Juliet kind of twist of fate. He's the youngest child. His siblings walk away to the breakfast. They don't even realize he's literally dying out there.
Yeah.
And I thought the scene of him drowning, he's been so scared of tsunamis this whole season. And it's a type of tsunami, this like wave of death that he doesn't even bring upon himself. Mm-hmm. And the most tragic part is he drank that smoothie that he hates because he's trying to reconnect with his brother, not sexually, but just as the younger sibling. There was like such a power in that moment that I thought was possibly the most transcendent part of the episode. Like, I was very moved by this.
Especially off the tales of Saxon telling him, like, if you want to make a smoothie, the stuff is here. No one's going to make you a man. You have to do it yourself. Like, I really liked that. And actually, thinking about it now, I sort of do find Lachlan's whole thing sort of deeply tragic as well, because it seemed like as he was dying, he found salvation, he found God. He was supposed to be the one survivor. His dad wanted him to survive. Mm-hmm. But in dying, he escaped all of these narcissists and all these things, and it was almost bleak for him to then be pulled back into all of it. He almost got out. He almost was the one who kind of got lucky. Yeah,
that's fascinating to invert it like that. I love the filmmaking in this scene. I thought it was some of the best in the episode, maybe of the season. But he's being pulled down in the dark waters, and he looks up and he sees four figures, and you're like, this is the family, right? Mm-hmm. And then it becomes a little sharper. Are they statues? Are they monks? You know, I don't think there's necessarily a correct answer. Mm-hmm. I was reading that there are 4 heavenly kings in Buddhism. They're called devas. Mm-hmm. And each one is there representing a direction in the world. Now, is that what Mike White's referencing? Perhaps. I really like what you're saying, because they might have been wanting to pull him to a purer afterlife instead of his kind of rotten reality.
Yeah.
It's brutal either which way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's devastating. And I think the shock of him actually dying and his father, like, cradling him and realizing, like, his error has caused this, and then what Saxon would have felt would have been really sad, but way more profound than him kind of miraculously snapping back to life.
I agree. I thought it would have been really beautiful. I mean, obviously, like, when he woke up, part of me was like, oh my God, my friend Lachlan is alive. But I think it would have packed way more of an emotional punch if he had really died. And it felt like a cop-out. It felt cowardly to, if you weren't going to kill the whole family, at least kill one of them. That would have been really good television. I think that would have changed my entire view on this episode.
Now we're entering one of your favorite shows territories, which is like The Leftovers.
The Leftovers?
Yeah.
Carrie Coon. Everything Carrie Coon
emotional devastation.
Oof, yeah. Yeah, I want that.
I kind of wanted it too, as terrible as that sounds.
People are like, when things get bad, I want to watch Ted Lasso to feel better. Like, no, I want to watch I want to feel horrible.
We kind of touched on this earlier, but Belinda does Tanya porn shy, and I am coining that verb. She Tanya'd him.
She got Tanya.
But could it have hit harder if this storytelling was a little more precise all season? I think yes.
Yeah.
To this vascular Thai Barack Obama Beto O'Rourke man named porn shy.
Yes, it felt very much like something that she was doing to him that we got to watch, rather than something that was happening to a story that we cared about. Something that was, you know, like if something like that happened to another one of the characters who had been more fully fleshed out, it would have been devastating. But we didn't get to see him really wanting that for an extended period of time.
Told us he wanted it twice, right?
Exactly.
I think that's fair. Let's talk about the action sequence. Definitely the most kinetic, gun-filled moment in this show in its 3 seasons. Did it work for you? Because I was pretty gripped, I gotta tell you.
The I am your father part of it made me groan. That's Star Wars. And, it's not, I don't know. I mean, it's fine. I don't think it was a shock that was Rick's father. I don't know where else the story really could have gone, but the way it was revealed and the moment in which it was revealed just didn't hit for me.
There's an argument to say, like, when Rick and Jim were in the room last episode, couldn't Jim have just been like, hey, man, I'm sorry, but I'm your dad?
That would have been
that's not television, but, like, that's how human beings would have shared information with each other.
Yeah,
You gotta hide the ball a bit in TV.
Yeah, there was just a whole lot of, like, this really affected Rick. This moment in his life really affected him. And we hear episode after episode about his dad and this thing that ruined his life. And then for this to be, like, it just... In the story of it, I mean, him, like, ending up killing his own father and then in the process losing this one person who he really, truly loves, as well as his own life. I mean, that is a tragedy. That is... I love that. But the whole I am your father reveal did not work for me at all.
Okay. I expected it, so I didn't find it so surprising. I thought the staging of the scene was really good.
Yeah.
I loved Fabian just like, and like jumping back into the water.
Yeah.
Very theatrically. We mentioned Carrie Coon just sprinting out of there.
Booked it.
So it was a great mix of like comedy and horror. And it's very funny to record this with you once we see what the internet says about things. Like we didn't get the chance to do that on the other episodes.
No.
But the Amrita hate, get out of here. That's a grown man, Rick. He made his own bed. He's sleeping in it.
Yeah.
Her giving him 10 minutes of therapy, that's not on her.
That is not on her. Leave her alone.
Leave her alone. She
had an appointment.
She had a client.
And she told Rick, like, wait here. He should have just, like, gone, I don't know, just, like, go somewhere where no one's going to see you. Like, you know what the stakes are.
Yeah.
Why are you just, like, out in the open? Why are you at the hotel right now?
Exactly. It just goes all the way back to that. In the ensuing gunfight with Jim's guards, Chelsea takes a bullet. And I actually was wondering in that scene, in the blocking of it, like, where's Chelsea? Yeah. And then, sure enough, she's lying on the ground. Very good death scene for Amy Lou Wood. Yeah. Because she's got such big doe eyes, and I'm just like, oh, my sweet girl.
I know.
My sweetheart. One of the best lines of the episode, I'm sorry we didn't mention it, she says to Rick when he's starting to spiral and go on full tilt, she says, stop thinking about the love you don't have, look at the love that's right in front of you, or some variation of that. Yeah. And he can't. And, you know, I've been sick of his agita all season, and here it rears its ugly head the most.
And she also says, like, you know, she wants to be with him forever, and he says that's the plan, and then she tears up, and, you know, it's a very emotional scene. I didn't full-on cry, but it did make me like, oh my god, like, it really
I thought that was
hit.
disingenuous from him.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm too deep into shipping Saxon and Chelsea.
Yeah.
That's my own blind spot. Yeah. But I don't know. I've never rooted for Rick in the show, and I love Walton Goggins.
But did you not believe
I'm moving on to Baby Billy over in the Righteous Gemstones camp.
Did you not believe that he was genuine when he said that was the plan, to be with her?
I don't know if anything brings that guy joy.
I really believe that they loved each other, and that's what makes it so tragic.
I thought the tragedy was not Rick's death. It was that he dragged an innocent, beautiful, open-hearted Chelsea into his shit and got her killed. Yeah. So when I see 2 body bags going onto the plane, I'm not devastated for them. I am sad that this this innocent life was a byproduct of his bullshit.
Yeah. And who was holding the gun? Guy talk.
It's true. The expectedness of it overpowered just the neatness of it for you. Was the sequence affecting?
It was... Nothing shocked me. Nothing that happened shocked me. I think seeing Chelsea laying there obviously affected me because I loved... She was maybe my favorite character of the season, and I was like, fuck, they really did it. But no, I mean, we've been saying episode after episode of this, like, it's going to be Guy talk. Guy talk wants so badly to impress Mook and become this person. Right. He's going to inflict violence. Like, it is this theme of masculinity that has nowhere else to go but there, and it didn't shock me.
Here's where it could have shocked you and might have been better. Rick's a criminal. He's a murderer in this moment. Guy talk ostensibly should shoot him. If Guy talk killed Chelsea or another innocent, maybe that is the deeper gut punch.
Yes.
Rick just shot the owner of the hotel. Yes, you should probably shoot that man.
Yes, I think for it to have affected me or surprised me, Guy talk would have had to have shot Chelsea or not shot at all.
That has to be the most calamitous moment in the White Lotus Hotel's history.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't know it from the aftermath and the epilogue of this episode. I said that Rick returning to the hotel was my second bugaboo. My first is just how little credence this mass casualty event gets for the characters. The epilogue begins. There is no mention of
no news report.
5 deaths at the hotel.
Just so many deaths.
Right.
And at what point does the White Lotus have to, like, answer for the fact that, like, everyone dies all the time?
Now I'd hope.
Is it like a commentary on how desensitized we are to, like, gun violence and violence in general? Maybe. I don't know. But, like, it seems odd that no one was like, hey, that's crazy. And also, the thing that will haunt me is, does Saxon know that Chelsea died? I like the ambiguity. I like that ambiguity. I want more of that from a season of television.
This was what I wanted to say next, which is that such a missed opportunity to show Saxon's reaction to Chelsea's death.
But it also is that, like, they don't know each other. They don't know each other well. They knew each other for a few days on vacation. I agree that it would have been devastating to watch him have that moment, but it really kind of snaps you back to reality of, like, oh, none of these people were just passing through. And you kind of see that there are sequences of, like, Valentin and the Russian guys, like, partying with a new group of people. And when Chloe says, like, she'll find someone else, you know, there are always people cycling through. It is really, like, this futile thing, and you feel it in that moment when you're like, oh, these people aren't as connected as we thought. They were really just kind of passing through. I don't know.
Saxon is reading these books. He's on a path towards soulfulness. I think he would have been really distraught by this event.
Oh, undoubtedly,
specifically in regards to Chelsea. And so
yes.
I kind of needed to see him learn about this. I don't know.
I like the open-endedness of it and the fact that she impacted his life in such a way that he will never forget her. I think that in itself is, I mean, he's like reading on the boat back. That is crazy. He is so changed. He had such a good arc that she was sort of the catalyst for it. I don't know. I think it was beautiful, and I think that's all we needed to see.
Within the epilogue, a few other characters to note. Greg Gary, classic evil, like back of the head shot.
Just chilling. He'll be back.
As he winks at Chloe as she seems to have procured a man for his weird sexual fantasy. Happy for him there. $5 million poorer because of Belinda. The blonde blob are happy on the boat, but you think that's fake or not going to last, and I think that's a good point you made earlier.
Yeah.
Belinda and porn shy Belinda waves to him. He's on the shore. You know, she used to wave to Tanya just like that once upon a time. Yeah. And so there is a good symmetry, but could it have hit harder? I think we agree it could have.
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell is praying again, his character Frank. So
I wanted more of him.
The whole season.
Whole season of just him?
Just Frank.
Yeah.
The misadventures of Frank.
He is one of the people who I genuinely hope comes back in some capacity in White Lotus future
so badass
seasons.
That he was able to get to a monastery and actually dive right back into that life after a bender.
Yeah.
Built different. Guy Talk and Mook. Guy Talk has these sick new black shades. He is driving Sitala's car. He's the top bodyguard.
He did it.
And Mook is turned on. Mook likes.
Little freak. Mook. Lover.
What a crazy zag. I love this for you and for Mook. And that's the episode.
And that's the damn episode. That was crazy.
Billy Preston's Nothing from Nothing plays. Credits roll.
And we'll see you at the next location, which I think will be Iceland for some reason.
We just dug into the finale of White Lotus Season 3, Amor Fati. Allison, in what ways did the finale let you down or disappoint you?
I mean, I think I've kind of railed against the parts I didn't like enough. I think Lachlan should have died for real. The Rick dad stuff did not hit the way it should have. I don't know. I loved, obviously, the Saxon of it all. I loved Carrie Coon's monologue. You know, there were some real highlights in there for me. I had fun watching it. I feel like I just complained a lot about a lot of things, but I did enjoy the finale. Like, I had a good time.
Yeah, my main thing is still just the aftermath of the shooting. This episode was 90 minutes, and the shooting happens at the 80-minute mark. Now, if you've already got us seated for this long, 10 more minutes of the characters reacting to this huge event at the hotel they've been staying at, I think I could have sat through that. I was already there. I wish Saxon found out about Chelsea. What your read is interesting. You're kind of saying, like, there's a callousness to him that these folks on a resort week, they're just ships in the night, that he's already moving on. But
no, I'm not necessarily saying that. I think I fully believe he would be devastated.
Yeah.
He has feelings for her, undeniably. That is not in question. I just think that I mean, we all know the feeling of, like, leaving a vacation, leaving camp, leaving this, like, very contained,
but I've never
specific
had
space.
the person I fell for die that week.
No, but you
fortunately
they stop being a constant in your life as they were over those few days, and you kind of are just, like, poof back into the real world. And I think it captured that feeling really well of, like, we will always wonder if he knows.
Right. I'm still upset that Rick returned to the White Lotus. I understand it narratively. I do not understand it for any other goddamn reason besides that.
Yeah, not a great call.
Who's your MVP of the season?
Who's your MVP of the season?
Saxon Ratliff.
Yeah.
I like what you said about Megan Fahey in season 2, the way you are so mistrustful of this woman and really think she's the woat, and she pulled a complete 180 and turned into the coolest, the smartest, the most got-it-together woman on the show. And now Saxon doesn't have such a 180 as that, but he arced the most in this season. And I love that for him, and I love Patrick Schwarzenegger in the role. And a lot of people are saying there's Emmy buzz around Parker Posey or Walton Goggins. And I think the hardest job done on this show and the job done most successfully is Patrick Schwarzenegger as Saxon Ratliff in the role. I
think if the awards do it right, it will be Patrick Schwarzenegger and Carrie Coon. They were the two standouts for me.
So that's your other MVP, Lori?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
I think Leslie Bibb was doing some great face acting.
What are people saying about this episode? We've kind of touched on some responses you've been getting. I want to hear some more from you being on the interwebs the past 24 hours. What are some of the wildest, dumbest shit people are saying? Any smart things that people said?
I've really just been seeing a lot of memes. I don't know. I feel like I touched on most of what I was hearing, most of the things that pissed me off. What about you? Have you seen anything else that we didn't talk about?
Well, I was just checking IMDb and the episode ratings, which it's an inexact science, but this is not the highest rated episode of the show ever. Do you know what is? Just a guess.
The highest rated episode of the show across all seasons? Is it the one where Sydney Sweeney is talking about how her grandpa was a power bottom?
No.
Oh.
It is the finale of season 2, which got an 8.8 out of 10. This has an 8.3 out of 10.
Okay, still pretty good. What was the season 1 finale?
Strong. I think just an 8.0. I think a lot of people have some rose-colored glasses about season 1 that I think everyone's built this show up to be something different. I just genuinely don't know if there's fair examination of the show.
One thing I did see was Mike White on I think it was the White Lotus podcast, saying, like, if you don't think anything's happening, like, why are you watching the show? And that's exactly what I said the same thing. If you're coming to this show expecting something crazy to happen out the gate instead of just like a slow burn over the course of a few episodes, you're watching the wrong show. That is not how this works. We know how this works.
Right.
You want something that this never promised you.
No, it's so true, but it's also, there's no denying this is 8 episodes while season 1 was 6. And so
yes,
you're just seeing a more compressed, condensed version of the action in the first season.
Yes. I do believe that this could have been either condensed significantly or expanded significantly. It needed to go one way or the other. I think this middling length of everything was sort of to the season's detriment.
At that point?
Make 10. Make 12. I don't know. If you have that much extra footage that you genuinely feel it gives color to the backstories of all of these people, do it. Absolutely.
No, I think it's a good point. And the other thing, I think people are, I don't know, fans seem annoyed. Like, a lot of people being like, that's it? That was slow, like you're saying? I've seen a lot of people asking, what happened to the Russians? And to that, I'm like, who gives a shit?
I don't care.
And then people say, what about that moment when Kate recognized Vicky? And again, I'm like, I don't fucking care.
People don't understand the concept of writing dialogue to show who a character is. That taught us a lot about those women. Is it Marvel brain? Like, what is that?
It is. It's people being theory pilled. I think that a lot of people are complaining that, well, this theory predicted this, and that didn't come true, so I'm mad. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how ass backwards of a viewing style is that?
That's horrendous. Also, the things that hit the viewer over the head with the themes and, like, anytime it feels heavy-handed, I hate it. I love the little things like that, the little interactions between characters who we maybe don't get to see together as much. Like, that is the real fun of the show, not like everything being laid out for you and spelled out for you. That is not, I don't enjoy that. Those are the things about the show that I complain about. But yeah, people need to like learn how to watch things again. That is a crazy thing to say.
The first season came out during COVID, and it was such a barren time for TV that we all loved it. I think season 2 was great. I don't know, it was kind of like faultless. Now season 3 comes, and Severance was just the biggest show right before this. People have tinfoil hats on for the White Lotus. And like we said at the top, like, the dead body invites that kind of scrutiny, but that is not what the show is about.
No.
But that is, unfortunately, who's come into the tent to enjoy this series.
Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing I can do. I mean, you look at Severance, something like that, which is so, I mean, theorizing about that is a show about like crazy technologies that we don't have, and this like crazy, it's this sci-fi thing. Of course, like, it makes sense to get more theory pilled for something that is more complex, but like the White Lotus is just people on vacation. It is, you identify a theme and you follow the theme to the end. Like, it is not, there's
and
nothing
the
we don't,
decisions by characters are human.
Yes,
and
there's nothing that we don't experience in our real lives that happens on the show. Like, it's just, it's very grounded, and people don't understand, I feel like, how to interact with a grounded piece of media anymore. Not to say that I think White Lotus is like the best show on television. Like, it,
fair, yeah.
Like, it's pretty middle of the pack for me, to be honest. Like, I enjoy watching it, but I don't think it's anything profound. I don't know. Just everyone be normal.
Yeah, it is a boon to become this big and popular, but the bigger you get, the more self-defeating it is, and the bad viewership that the show receives. I don't know. How do you want the White Lotus to evolve as it looks towards season 4?
They gotta go somewhere like somewhere like not a beach.
Before we pick the location, what thematically could change?
Oh my god. Do you have an answer for this?
I know you're excited to just go to a travel agency.
No, but like, what are you maybe I'll get a good idea.
Well, okay, so no, I want to talk about where it will go, but I want to talk about where the crux of the show will go. And I just want to say that I remain quite torn about the auteur nature of it and the Mike White of it. Because on one hand, it is miraculous that this all comes from one man's mind, one person's mind. On the other hand, there were moments this season where I think we both thought, hey, maybe some fresh ideas would do this show good.
It has true detective disease, where Nick Pizzolatto had all those years to write the greatest season of television ever, and he did it. And nothing in my mind will ever top Russ Cole, Marty Hart, like that. Oh my God. If you ever do a True Detective recap, I'm coming back. I don't know why you would do that. It came out in 2014. But then season 2 came, and they ordered a second season of this thing that he didn't expect, and it was an anthology, so he had to make this whole new story, and it felt rushed, and it wasn't the same thing, and it fell off. Like, we needed more. That's actually, but you're describing
an opposite situation that does apply, which is that Nick Pizzolatto had decades with that story. Mike White made White Lotus.
That's true.
In a rush job brilliantly. Maybe he had too much time, too many resources for this last season, season 3.
Maybe.
I think that a balance needs to be struck where it's still distinctly Mike White, but he's getting the chance to bounce ideas off other smart writers and playwrights and has a writer's room. It could be a winning formula.
I think it could be really good. It doesn't have to be a big room.
No. As for season 4 and where it will go, people want cold weather White Lotus. They want Norway. They want Switzerland. I'm down for this, but Mike White isn't.
Really?
He has repeatedly said he does not want to go somewhere cold.
That's really funny. He's doing the Adam
Sandler thing.
Yeah. I respect it. That is the realest thing I've ever heard anyone say. Like, absolutely shoot that down. If I were Mike White, I would not be going somewhere freezing. Why would I do that?
So, first season was about class, he says. Second season was about sex. This season was about death. Maybe the theme of the 4th season, I don't know if do you put the cart before the horse, like do you pick the place, do you pick the theme then, or vice versa? But I had some ideas for you.
Okay. I'd love to hear them.
Africa.
Very cool. That could be really,
very thorny situation there. I know he wants to go to Japan, but I think he would move off of the Eastern Hemisphere after this past season.
I feel like Japan and Thailand back-to-back would be too similar.
HBO's head of programming, Francesca Orsi, said that, I can't really say where we're going to land, but chances are somewhere in Europe. That was a couple weeks ago she said that. That could change.
It'd be so funny if they just go to, like, London.
I mean, they could, right? They'd be on Industries block, so they got to get the fuck out.
Yeah, true. They should do a crossover.
Whoa. I wanted Kendall Roy in the background shot of White Lotus episode.
I know. No, like, everyone at Pierpoint is on a business trip, and they, like, have to stay at a hotel, and it's the White Lotus.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Nickelodeon used to have movies where, like, the Wild Thornberrys and the Rugrats would team up or, like, suddenly be in each other's universes. Yeah. That's what you're describing.
Exactly. Disney Channel had That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana. Like, let's get, like... Barry Berkman's dead. Who could we do? Who's not dead? I feel like everyone's dead. Roman Roy, Marnie Michaels, and...
Harper Steele.
Oh, no, that's Harper. That's from Will and Harper.
Harper
Stern. Harper Steele would devour a season of White Lotus.
Mike White would love to write for Harper Steele.
Harper Steele should be writing.
Yeah, fair enough. The other thing you have to consider, do they need to have this be in a 4 seasons because they have this partnership now?
Oh. Where now I'm going to be Googling, like, every 4 seasons location in
Europe.
have
them for you.
Oh, okay,
I have them for you. London, Paris, Geneva, Budapest, Athens, Madrid, and Portugal.
They should go to Athens.
That's kind of the Sicily season a bit.
That's true. What were the ones after Athens?
Madrid and Portugal.
I think it'll be one of those. Geneva would be crazy if they, like, all go there and, like, people are being prosecuted for war crimes. There should be, like, a whole other layer to the season.
Mike White on the official podcast today, it was hard to glean what he meant or the seriousness of what he said. Kind of hinted that a season 4 theme he wants to get back to is celebrity. I mean, he mentioned a film festival as a really funny setting for the White Lotus. He said that season 3 Thailand was about these epic themes of fate and identity, and he kind of wants to get back to what he knows a little more, which might not be a bad thing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cannes, maybe? Like, where are there film festivals? Berlin?
White Lotus, Park City?
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
I did have an idea, and we could close with this, but if they were to remake James Bond, I want them to do the same thing, but I think it would be pretty cool for White Lotus too if he took us back to White Lotus 1970s or 1950s.
Oh, that's
one of the
fun.
Earliest iterations of the White Lotus.
Although
But then you have to write
would
a
there
whole
not
period
would this
world.
not have been brought up before? Like White Lotus's history with people
The lore?
dying. Yeah.
Oh, so you can't kill people in the past.
You can,
Because
but like, would someone in the
You're right.
present
Now it's like a
seasons
haunted
of-
hotel in
Yeah.
2025.
Would no one at any point have said like,
No,
"Wow,
that-
it's crazy that everyone's dying here"? Like they also were
that's a good
dying
point. I didn't think
decades
about that.
ago.
I didn't think about that.
I do like the idea.
Be quite imaginative.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see your point. Would be pretty stylish and cool though.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts about White Lotus season 3?
Saxon, you did it. Good job.
Civi, Allison, Balda and Dowd, thank you so much for recapping this entire season with me.
Thank you for having me.
The fans love you.
And I love the fans.
The bald men in Thailand.
Hell
what were they
yeah.
called at the start of this?
I don't know. The Harkonnens.
It was the acronym.
But
Cool back home or something. The bald men of Thailand.
I'm gonna miss them.
Respect you and loved you on the pod. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
your coverage all season and your insight.
Thank you for your insight. This was so much fun. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Until season 4.